there is something going on, Joel, I just read. We're going to switch gears here completely because there's a very, very heavy heart I come into today's show with, but I'm going to hide it, and we're going to move on. UFC 205, right around the corner, Madison Square Garden. I wish they just called the MSG card because 205 is confusing as hell. MSG, first time ever. Did you read the card? Yeah, I want a yes or no. Did you read the card?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know who the curtain jerker is for the main card?
I do. Chris Weidman.
Versus?
Romero.
Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero is going to jerk the curtain. The number one contender versus the former world champion is going to jerk the curtain. Because the card is so loaded.
3 title fights.
Do I have to say any more to sell you on what a big event this is, other than the fact that the world champion and the number one contender are opening the show?
No.
No, I don't. I can leave it at that right there.
I want to see. It would be amazing for one of those shows to actually go through as planned one time. And I'm rooting for it, not against it.
You're talking about injuries and guys pulling out and all this crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you this
injuries and pulling out are the same thing.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But I just mean, they pull out for different reasons. But I'll tell you this much, that fight's staying together. If you think Chris Weidman's missing MSG, you got another thing coming. And if you think Yoel Romero is going to miss his chance, and particularly after he's been out. I mean, he's starved out. If for nothing else, he needs to show up to get himself a payday. But what I'm trying to say is that fight's happening. I'll guarantee that right now.
Absolutely. It's going to be the greatest card. If it goes through, it has the potential to be the greatest card that I've ever seen. I mean, again, you're talking about Chris and Romero as the curtain jerkers. That's crazy. That's insane. I've lost it.
In any other world, Joel, this would be an insult to Chris and Yoel. On this card, as loaded as it is, that's where they belong. As big of a fight as that is, the implications that fight has, as competitive, as anticipated, all these things, that's a main event at any arena, anywhere in the world, and it's going to sell out. But on this card, they're in the right placement.
Perfect timing, too, because you got Bisping and Danny fighting this weekend, tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Saturday.
I have a feeling you said perfect timing because you think the winner of that becomes the number one contender. That's a whole other can of worms that I actually don't want to open right now. We're going to be here all day and not get to our guests. But I will remind you, Rockhold and Jacare also have a fight booked. So the winner of Jacare and Rockhold is going to get to verbally battle it out. I don't think they're going to have to fight I think they're going to have to verbally battle out who is the number one contender versus the winner of Weidman and Romero. And the one thing we know, and even a courtroom would agree with me, is whoever gets the final say has a bit of the upper hand. Whichever fight goes second and is freshest in everybody's mind. But that's a whole other can of worms I don't want to get into. I just want to get into the fact that the world champion and the number one contender have to jerk the curtain because the card's so damn loaded.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
All right, cool. Good. We'll leave it at that. Didn't want to hear from you anymore anyway. All right, listen. I'm kidding, Joel. Listen.